views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Get ready for Clear Speak Talk Radio with Dr. Jeanette Wolf on Transformation Talk Radio. On this hit show, Dr. Wolf shares the principles of Clear Speak to help listeners gain insight and tools to expand their sensory awareness, thinking, perceptions, awareness, and speech. Follow along and become empowered to start acting with greater self-awareness and certainty, and to notice beyond what was seen before. Clear Speak Talk Radio. Think it, speak it, live it, now.
Hello, glorious beings. I'm Dr. Jeanette Wolf, and you're listening to Clear Speak Talk Radio. I'm so glad you've joined me today to explore expanding your perspective on how the language that you choose to express your thoughts and to speak affect your physiology, your neurology, and your psychology, and how simple awarenesses around what you're able to do and what you're able to act upon moment to moment supports your well-being, actually your whole being, by accepting all aspects of your experience and yourself. ClearSpeak supports your conscious self-editing through mindfully selecting your choice of articulation. And it enables your responsibility for solution-based choice points, and it shifts your perceptions and your experience out of replaying drama-based and less than proactive programming that keep you feeling limited or helpless. As you come to accept what's within yourself, to truly know yourself, and to see what is reflected by your outer experience, your awareness and your acceptance of all that you are is life-enhancing. I think one of the most amazing aspects of my experience is realizing that we are able to reconnect with aspects of ourselves, so many pieces that perhaps we've gently tucked away or that we've judged less than gently, that perhaps we've slammed the door on, and offer ourselves a reordering of the systems within us, a rebooting of the systems within us, that can brilliantly flow and flow out into all that you touch within your own enlightenment. And for those of you that know me and that have been chatting with me for a few years, you know that my version of enlightenment is making light of things. When we can be very matter of fact, the density lifts out. When we can find a sense of humor in what is, we let go of the density, the weight of things, and it eliminates weight, W-A-I-T, waiting for something to happen, simply because we matter-of-factly make light of something that could be perceived with great drama and with judgment around how terrible or bad it might be. So, when energy and consciousness connect, it offers us a whole experience through a more efficient connection, and a connection that is integrous or in integrity. Integrity comes from the word integer, the whole number. Integrity is an unbroken flow of energy and life force and congruence between what you experience and express, and is aligned with your life purpose. So consider that sustainable health or quantum health is living a life of wholeness. And integrity is the practice of being responsible to yourself and keeping agreements with yourself. So you are in integrity with yourself. You are in a full flow. Consider how many times you break your promises with yourself. How often do you override the innate intelligence of your symptoms speaking to you, the subtle ones and the not so subtle ones? How often do you avoid listening to your body's signs, language, when it requests some rest, some hydration, a deep breath? We are so conditioned from the moment that we arrive on this planet to exist in the linear construct of some outside source dictating to us what time it is to eat so that it works in a schedule, and not to drink because, well, we can't get a hall pass, or that it's not time to use the restroom. And we're not even sure that we're able to get to a restroom even when we have the ability to choose that because of our busyness in meeting deadlines and going from meeting to meeting. How many times do you reach for caffeine or some outside chemical to muscle through and get a job done, and then lay awake in stress because you only have 2 hours of sleep before it all starts over again, and you're so wired from all the things that you took to keep you up so that you can get those things done, to try and pass out in bed, and then you can't. We have been collectively imprinted to move by the constructs of these outer authorities, these outer ideas of what is supposed to be, not realizing that in every moment we have a choice to listen to our inner compass. And even within the constructs of busy, we have a choice to listen to ourselves and to offer ourselves simple comforts moment to moment. The collective surfacing of deep emotional and physical pain on this planet is a collective expression, a constriction of conscious awareness based on some outdated foundational belief systems of what we believe is or is not possible. And so, what would your life truly look like if you were to create from a willingness to tell yourself the truth about what you would really choose, what you would really choose to experience? What kind of relationship to yourself, to your body, to your loved ones, and this planet at large would you create if you were absolutely willing to articulate what you sense, what you feel, and what is vital to your vitality? All healing, all holing, and living in cyclical, self-sustaining well-being is reinterpreting what you believe happened to you. The awarenesses that change history, your own history, and the awarenesses that arise in the moments of our greatest discomfort and disease. Well, those are the gifts of symptoms. Consider staying with this idea of asking yourself how you would like to experience yourself and realizing that you are the authority of living in integrity with yourself. So consider the question while we break around. What within you are you able to let go of, delete, recycle, reboot, and update in your own belief system within your brain biocomputer so that your physiological, neurological, and psychological operating system is in optimal flow? So consider me, for a little while, your motivational architect, supporting you in some simple questions to begin the process of expanded perspectives, allowing you to relax deeper into yourself and realizing that you always have a choice. And in helping you understand how to apply language-based tools on what you would like to construct, and frankly even deconstruct. Because remember, whatever you've created that doesn't serve your most optimal flow, you can discreate by simply becoming aware of that. So if you haven't done so yet, download our playbook and notice how the world responds to you. Use that to take some notes about your delete, recycle, reboot, and updating programs. And know that you can simply operate from a place of choosing solution. ClearSpeak reduces stress by simply and easily rebooting yourself and editing your thoughts, your articulation, right? The way you speak, the way your thoughts move, your reticular activating system. And it creates flow through your own presence with yourself and brilliantly invites everyone around you to meet you in that flow. Our research shows that people who practice presence through ClearSpeak are willing to stay open, even if it's uncomfortable, to a present situation, and they don't resist what is. Remember that old saying, what we resist persists? When you resist your body's innate intelligence and communication of discomfort, it actually gets bigger. So when you increase your ability to handle discomfort by staying present with yourself, to truly listen and respond, and to clearly articulate creative ways beyond the perception of that problem, your stress shifts. You realize enhanced tolerance by staying with the experience instead of trying to dumb it down or avoid it. ClearSpeak sets the cornerstones presence in your mental software upgrades. So consider that to activate your own innate and infinite intelligence. It's a matter of simply surrendering to what is. And surrendering means you trust yourself. And through trust, you get to activate the flow of your energy, your own integrity, and its work in directing your intercellular communication. And well then, that's when you actually realize that quantum health, or whole being, was always something that was yours. I'd like to suggest again that you take some time to write down whatever you notice as we talk over the next 50 minutes or so. It's vital to have information and ahas at our fingertips as we start to become aware of some of the programming, so that when we become aware, we can redirect our attention, right? That's the reboot part of it. So when we write things down, we literally make the things in our mind that matter on paper. The brilliance of writing down your awarenesses is that words, the written word, has so much power over the mind, because when you're writing and reading at the same time, it's a double reactivation of your awarenesses. So your paper, or download our little booklet, ClearSpeak is a cultural language program that demonstrates how the words you use directly shape your form, inform your form, and define your experience. So notice where definitions have been limiting, right? Without definitions, we are truly free. So we're here today to explore these simple ideas about reinforming your form as to what's possible, and to help you image in and imagine beyond what you've been taught to believe is true or possible. We're here to expand your ability to self-edit moment to moment, and to make light of, to be an enlightenment about perhaps some of the terminology, some of the words, some of the belief systems, some of the thought loops that you play over and over, and to be okay with that, to embrace that, and to self-edit, and to shift those thoughts, and create the space for multiple perspectives to coexist at the same time. Our words program us. They give us points of reference. And we learn to believe what we hear. And there's so much unconscious conditioning that's been handed to us. Our words, learning to spell, creates sentences. And the stories and the language that we're exposed to in our earliest years as children can sentence us to someone else's experience, to someone else's story, someone else's history or herstory that isn't necessarily even ours. When we hear the same thing over and over and over again, well, you know that old saying, repetition is a convincing argument. So will you consider, for just a bit, the concept of shifting your chemistry, your body, through utilizing language that offers you solution, that eases your worry, that supports your moving out of feeling like your life is happening to you, into creating your life experience by you? That brings to mind this word intention. So many people say, well, Jeanette, I intend these things all the time, but I really want you to feel that word, feel the word intention. Any intention creates tension because it's actually going against where you are in that moment. So think about that and feel that. I intend. Are you being present? No, you're not being completely present. I didn't even give you a chance to think about that, did I? Intention is a form of resistance to what is. We usually set an intention when we're not happy with what is, and we intend to set a different perspective. And clearly, intentions are a big part of the positivity movement and this place of getting better. But that's still quite linear, and that's not quantum. It's not active. Intention, again, I will say it again and again, is a form of resistance to what is. That's why we often hear our New Year's resolutions and intentions didn't quite turn out the way that we would like them to. And of course, there's a positive aspect or meaning to intention. But I would like you to notice the difference. I would like you to notice the difference between intention and attention. Studies show that our attention shifts dramatically in society, more dramatically than ever before, in much shorter spans. And so what if you could inform your form with your intention and attention consistently and without distraction? When we are at tension, when we are attending to something, we are engaged in the act of doing, of taking the next moment to edit ourselves out of tension. And so consider being aware that your intention with what is, placing your attention on that and acting upon the tension in the moment and not pushing that into the future. I hope that makes sense. One of the most exciting parts about my work at Planet Apothecary now is the ability to offer software, an actual software component to support undistracted vibrational subscriptions to holding the place of creation, to hold our attention without being distracted by all of the other things that keep us in busyness, instead of presence. What if you're never in need of anything, or going after anything, or not trying to make something happen, and you are simply immersed in the flow of the moment in non-intentional intent? There's no intention in the mind because you're not thinking about it. And so ClearSpeak offers you the active, mindful, meditational intention to be at attention, to be in constant attention to what is. And our quantum body programs at Planet Apothecary offer you support with these resonant technologies to achieve an incredible reorganization and reinformation of the form by supporting your conscious choice in languaging and supporting you in the reformation, reinformation, and reorganization of the form, the vessel of your body, and the format of your experience. My personal experiences with completely reformatting myself due to almost 3 decades of significant neuroatypical and cryptogenic health reorganizations has led to the development of what I would call these quantum health tools and techniques that support your self-awareness in realizing what's possible for you. That happened by my willingness to adapt and upgrade my way of thinking and taking old habits of belief and putting them in my recycle bin and upgrading my own brain biocomputer regularly, moment to moment, and taking myself beyond the idea of what outer authorities and outer constraints informed my form were possible, or informed me of what my apparent limitations might be. Check out my blog page on planetapothecary.shop and read an article about my unusual physical experiences with what physicians, traditional medicine, noted as a life sentence of pain and discomfort that led to a full reformation of my nervous system. And my eyes, my ability to speak clearly, to hear, to chew, and to swallow were all brought back to whole being, despite the fact that the doctor said, the physicians and specialists said, that I would never return to well-being. I'm honored to have been interviewed by Terry Curry, a talented writer, interviewed me for this very candid and insightful gathering of my experience. And we spoke for several months, and her sharing is incredibly accurate and honest, and I am so honored to share that on my webpage. As our world changes, I am certain that we have all the ability to shift, a call to action in the exploration of new ideas and ways of being that nurture us and to create happiness and wholeness. I am certain that the latest in consciousness technologies, mind physics, and electroceuticals offer the space of deep knowing and whole being. That is what Quantum Body is at Planet Apothecary. These are our multi-sensory wellness rooms. Join us if you're interested in coming to know a space that expands your awarenesses, potentials, possibilities, and probabilities. Know that, as masterful as you are in this moment, however fulfilling and expanded your creations, experience, and accomplishments might be, there's always a potential and possibility from a space beyond your story. And this is your birthright. And every time you allow beyond what you've ever imagined before, I am certain that you will be, much like I have been and continue to be, surprised and delighted by life's ever-expanding capacity to meet your visions and your choices. When we come back, we'll explore more about how your choices and articulation can offer you your whole being as you sense it, think it, speak it, and live it now. Welcome back, everyone, to ClearSpeak Talk Radio with me, Dr. Jeanette Wolf. Today we're exploring quantum health and the correlation of our communication systems, of our thoughts, our beliefs, our body's innate intelligence, and receiving information through the language of color, the language of scent and light and vibration, through the language we speak to ourselves, and the talk that we've been conditioned to believe, and all of the languages that we've been exposed to and the beliefs behind them, and how that affects your well-being, and the concept of knowing that each one of us are capable of rewiring and rebooting our brain biocomputer according to the conscious languages that we choose to speak to ourselves and to others. The initial ClearSpeak approach to clearing and rewiring and nurturing you is by using mental questions that open you to choice and helping you remember to sense your way through, to feel your way through choices versus being informed by some outer source. It's the place of opening ourselves to deeper realizations that bring us to a place of being able to choose from the heart, from the gut, and not necessarily just the mind. The mind is the place that often makes choices from outer authorities versus the senses and feeling. And the conscious understanding of what has in the past been unconscious makes it easier for you to create the space for you to love yourself more easily and to accept. Consider for a moment that love is acceptance. For those of you listening that have known the unconditional love that can come from children and beloved pets, know that in that space there is very rarely a separating out. When we know unconditional love, we feel that expansive space where we don't separate out the parts that we don't like. And it's really interesting because it's very difficult for humans to apply unconditional love and acceptance to self. It's very difficult to love the whole of ourselves. Applying awareness and noticing how your thoughts and the language loops that play in your mind separate out the parts of you, the parts that you don't like, the parts you've been told by others aren't good enough, and how they create static and shortcuts is one of the most essential parts of rebooting and rewiring your own brain biocomputer so that a whole you can expand out, so that you can return to your whole being, where your mind doesn't separate out what the mind has been programmed to disparage. ClearSpeak and quantum modalities create a spaciousness for you to love, to become more whole, and to accept all aspects that you are more easily. It supports that experience of ease and to remind your body of what it feels like to relax and to feel nourished. And with that, you can invite in various tools. And the brilliance of what my personal experiences have brought me and some very accelerated discomfort in the almost 3 decades of neurological anomalies that I've experienced have shown me that what was perceived by the medical community, or what I've been told by the medical community as diseases that I would never be cured of, shifted after I arrived at a place of being very matter-of-fact, a place of being very, very comfortable in what others would have considered potentially fear-provoking and significant life or death illnesses and events. And the more comfortable I became in the place of accepting the wholeness of myself, and in that place of moment-to-moment editing, I did not resist and I did not act from fear. I've come to realize, and what I would share with you in just these few moments together, is that the sum total of my health as a human being has been emotion. And in my earliest years in dealing with others' emotions, realizing what is mine and what is not, realizing that emotions trigger the inner pharmacopoeia, our body's personal drugstore, and in that pharmacy, in that apothecary, in your body, you are the pharmacist, right? We are our own pharmacist. And often even in the perception that somehow we must care for others, either through our familial bonds, our parental bonds, our choices of service. We take on other people's emotions, right? Energy and motion. And that significantly can shift our inner pharmacopoeia. So first caveat is remember that you are the chief belief maker. You write the prescription according to your emotional responses or reactions to the events around you. Your emotions create the corresponding chemical releases within your form. That is a key piece. The endocrine system that is responsible for the chemical responses to your emotional choices can be supported through various techniques. And the first one is simply mentoring, simply questioning, simply consistently being present with yourself, or joyfully having someone that is there to ask you the questions to take you out of the drama of emotional choices and into a very matter-of-fact discovery of what is true and what is projected and what can be applied moment to moment to support ClearSpeak. Our research shows that when people practice presence through noticing their language, their ways of expressing how they feel versus what they think they feel, there are significant differences in reducing stress. These methods reduce stress simply by rebooting yourself, by rebooting the choices that you make in your inner and outer self-speak. Your conscious choices and the words that you use to speak with yourself, your self-talk to speak with the world around you, creates flow through your presence, which naturally invites everyone around you to meet you in that flow. A meta-analysis at Johns Hopkins concluded that presence decreases anxiety and depression, and presence reduces cortisol levels, which is the hormone related to stress. And when you're willing to stay open to your present situation, even when it's very uncomfortable, you actually increase your ability to consistently handle discomfort and to clearly articulate creative ways beyond the perception that there's actually even a problem or a dis-ease. As you navigate any concerns that you have about your health and well-being with your body, it helps bring you into a place of understanding that disease is not something that you have. Dis-ease, let's use two words there, or a prefix and a word. Dis-ease is simply your body's innate intelligence consistently communicating with you around what you've not been paying attention to, and often what you override on a regular basis. Listen to your symptoms. They are your messengers. Do not shoot the messengers or try to dumb them down. So simple, right? We very rarely articulate these simplicities or consider them. And so the Life Lab, beyond mentoring, offers you technologies that support your holding of your intention in times where you are distracted by the busyness of life. We've created the Planet Filters, a series of multisensory plasma self-care products that offer support that is organized information concentrated in chroma and aroma therapy self-care products. And I will say that the gifts of my personal experiences as I've explored my own health and well-being and those of my patients and those that I love have all led me to comprehend the many facets that we can offer to each other as we move through a world that is radically changing by being radically responsible to ourselves. So I'm thrilled to be able to offer you tinctures and modalities that offer self-soothing, self-editing, moment-to-moment tools. And I'm absolutely certain that my deep and ever-strengthened empathy for everyone that I come into contact with has brought me awareness and easing symptoms by not taking them on. I've realized now that simply having a neutral desire to thrive through my own personal responsibility to self creates a space of well-being that can overflow to all of you. And so with that, Planet Apothecary offers you tools for accelerated nutrition through foods and supplements, ingesting all of the herbs and the exterior application of pure essential oils and tinctures that have been programmed with color and light and sound, and actually act as a physical component, utilized as a delivery system for a tailored set of frequencies inspired by the ingredients and your body's innate energy centers, your chakras, your meridians, and their innate and organic frequencies. On top of that, our software programs are run for those products, and then we layer frequencies that are informed by clear intentions to the ingredients and even into your homes and workspaces through the translation of frequency signatures through algorithms, light, and communication. My experience has made it clear that holing is available through exploring three aspects of life force. Life force comes from three primary sources. Part of our chi, our energy, comes from the vital energy reserve that we inherit from our parents. And that type of inherited life energy is often referred to as ancestral chi. Some of you might call it ancestral baggage. And in that place, I would consistently remind you to know yourself in the now and not from whence you came. Source chi is absorbed and produced through nourishment and the nourishment that you take in, and can be live in unadulterated foods. Fermented foods, foods prepared with unconditional acceptance for now moment versus the intention of fixing is vital. The concept of eating or taking in supplements to get somewhere actually skews the getting there. So consider that you may choose to ingest nutrition from a place of your sensory knowing versus what your mind tells you is good for you based on the latest study of what's supposed to be good for you. That seems to change quite a bit these days. There are nuances that we discuss as we dive deeply into quantum body programs that are individualized, of course. And the third source comes directly from the environment, right? Our third source of chi. There's a certain amount of energy that is absorbed from our surroundings and taken into the body. If you listen to What the Fun Happened to My Shui episode, you heard a little bit about the way that essential oils and scent and our multi-sensory aspects from the multi-sensory broadcast also shared about how we are significantly affected by the chi, the energy in our surroundings. So remember that the meridian system, the chakra system through acupuncture points themselves, function like little tiny energy pores, and that the skin absorbs this unique environmental subtle energy directly into our meridians and chakras, and that's distributed to the organs in the body. So this, again, is the brilliance of understanding how much you are affected by everything around you when it comes to transforming your relationship with the experience of what you call health or the experience of what you might call dis-ease. And so the greatest challenge that you might face is what you value. Again, your programming, what you believe you are, or that you are limited in what you are able to achieve. Our planet pods, the planet filters, are color-coded to help you activate it and inform your chakras and meridians through specific reflexology applications based on ancient teachings, and our Planet Apothecary Life Lab sensory wellness applications are now shifting chi in terms of environment in numerous hospitals, care centers, corporate sites with great success. So remember the power of the mind. Remember the tendency for your mind, for your thoughts, to move to a place of, what do I do about this? When you are uncomfortable, when you are in discomfort or dis-ease, the mind goes to, what do I do about this? How do I get this over with? How do I make this better? Who do I go to see? What's the best doctor? What's the best information? What's the latest study? And isn't it interesting that we see study after study that contradicts itself? There's a tendency to go outward first, right? Not inward. Let me find someone that can alleviate my discomfort. There's got to be some authority out there that can tell me. We usually want to stop the discomfort first and rarely consider the wise messages that our body's innate intelligence, that our symptoms are sharing, first as whispers, and then at some point they get very, very loud. And we say, gee, that sickness came out of nowhere. And it's actually not in nowhere. It's actually an accumulation of information that we could consciously choose to put in the recycle bin and to reboot the way that we think moment to moment. Because truly, the individuals that we were yesterday, last week, a few months ago, even a few hours ago, is different from the individuals that we are now, simply because we've gathered different information, had different experiences, been exposed to different foods, individuals, spaces, and places. So remember that this is truly consistently about asking questions that lead in. So many people come to me and hope that somehow I have the capacity to counteract their predicament, their discomfort, as some outer authority of their experience. And so many are frustrated. And this is a heads up, because I will ask you questions that lead you within first, should you choose to explore planet and quantum health. Because those questions lead you to you. And then you get to realize the gift of self-awareness and self-empowerment that comes when the questions are asked versus being given some magic answer that you're seeking. And that is long-lasting, and that is sustainable solutions, because it's coming from your cyclical flow, your integrous flow, uninterrupted energy as a whole being. Collectively, there's been a conditioned belief system to trust that somehow outer authorities that we go to for help because of their training are somehow more able, that somehow their worldly abilities might be more qualified than our own inner compass. And clearly it's vital to gather all the information and to sit with ourselves and to sense what works for us from a gathering of the facts. And so a key aspect to ClearSpeak and quantum health is to be able to distill others' projections and narratives and historical likelihoods, and others' experiences as likely becoming your experience. What matters to you becomes matter. In the beginning there was sound, the word, and the word became matter. So be very, very clear about what matters to you. Listen from your sensory knowing, from the inside out, and do not apply the contrast of what happened to someone else as your story. What if the wellspring of your well-being isn't in the doing? What if the wellspring isn't seeking something outside of yourself? That's the point of ClearSpeak. What if you were able to operate from a brain software program that you create, where trauma is simply an experience without tying a good or bad to it? What if there was no one out there to fix that trauma? What if there was no one out there to tell you that the trauma was bad, and that they didn't share their story about how they had a similar trauma and expand it and make it bigger and bigger, and expand a simple moment in time into some massive story? What if you could simply feel and sense and know your discomfort from a place of respondability? Like a little kid that falls and picks themselves up and laughs and keeps going. What if we didn't make trauma mean something? What if you could simply feel and sense and know your discomfort and edit it moment to moment without making it mean something, from a place of solution, from, that doesn't feel great, oh my, let's keep it moving. What may I offer myself in this moment to support myself? And then in the next moment, and then in the next moment, and then in the next moment. Without thinking someone else's story about what happened to them when they didn't get up and someone was having a bad day told them that if they fell or if they got poked, that it meant something because they fell and they got poked and someone else made it mean something. What if you were able to model that place consistently for yourself? The place of the tiniest adjustment to bring ease to that moment of discomfort that leads to another adjustment and another adjustment and another self-edit. What if you were able to model that for your kids, for your loved ones, for everyone that you come into contact with? What if you could actually self-edit from that clear space a present moment solution? That's the place of noticing how you talk to yourself versus what others have conditioned you in your language to be. What if the word trauma was simply shifted to discomfort? What if having a disease was not a thing, and it was simply noticing that there is dis-ease in this moment? What if your immediate awareness was to sense what you might offer yourself to achieve ease or comfort? Imagine the space that matter-of-fact operating system could offer you, so that your endocrine system could relax, so that your emotions wouldn't charge massive chemical information and create stress and anxiety and what have you. And you could reduce your cortisol level simply by being matter-of-fact with the fact of what transpired without adding someone else's ideas that you've been programmed to believe to that. So just feel that space. What if you come to value the radiance of your being and simply reach for foods, tools, supplements that operate on the same attention to your well-being, attending to your needs moment to moment? That subtle and profound shift in your attention from valuing only what you do when experiencing dis-ease or discomfort to valuing your beingness in the midst of discomfort and accepting the information offered in that moment shifts so much the moment you truly value your beingness. Everything that you do, every solution you reach for, every act becomes healthy and whole. And that is the space. That is the space of truly existing in now moment. Feeling an emotion, feeling a pain or fear or hopelessness or an odd sense that something is wrong, and it triggers a sense of dread that you don't even know why, and leaves you feeling little or no trust that you're capable of making changes that bring you out of disease into joy. You can offer yourself as a realization that you have a choice in every moment, every second, quite frankly. And I know this space. I know this space well, where I literally would choose to breathe one moment to the next very, very consciously, because if I didn't, I would lose my breath. What if you simply offered yourself that realization, and that you're able to surrender to that sense of simply being and embracing your personal truth? I've always enjoyed the axiom that states that fear is false evidence appearing real. It's so true. When we see beyond the illusion of evidence that was maybe real to someone else but not necessarily ours, we can actually step out of the victimhood of dis-ease and moving beyond the place of trying to fight dis-ease or surviving dis-ease. Have you noticed that? We have to fight dis-ease. When we fight dis-ease, we actually resist a part of ourselves. You're resisting information that is giving you the dis-ease to actually hear yourself. Every time you feel yourself the victim, you are relinquishing choice. You're not living in present moment. You are relinquishing the choice of your own empowerment. Are you willing to shift your attention from a life of to me into a life of by me? Your resistance to change, your resistance to information, even in your discomfort, significantly affects you consciously and unconsciously. Your comfort in the familiar, no matter how uncomfortable. Your comfort in the familiar, no matter how uncomfortable, contributes so much to disease, emotionally, mentally, and physically. I remember reading somewhere that 3/4 of our discomfort, mentally, emotionally, and physically, is the end product of our resistance to allowing ourselves to believe in things that were handed to us. So in surrendering to the process, it doesn't mean feeling disempowered. It means accepting what is and going with the flow of it and embracing what you're learning through the discomfort. You get to choose to let go of resistance and rewire your brain biocomputer. If you're consistently running the same patterns in your mind that created the disease to begin with, and then layer on top of that the original disease, the fighting and the victimhood, you simply recapitulate and re-imprint the program on your physiology, neurology, and psychology over and over and over again. There are so many studies that show that those that wave the banner of surviving or having been a victim of disease actually relapse faster than those who simply matter-of-factly noticed what brought the disease to begin with and listen to what the body has been consistently telling them and not making the body shout it through pain when they haven't listened to themselves for so long. So are you willing to let go of your projections around what's supposed to be, and that you're supposed to be healthy and you're supposed to be happy and you're supposed to know what to do? Are you willing to listen and consider asking yourself the question, what if I'm absolutely unable to change anything about my situation? How can I adjust, upgrade, reboot my brain biocomputer, my programs, my habits of belief, my perspective, my language systems, in order to simply embrace and accept, to love what is, to not separate out aspects of the experience that I've created? That brings us into complete alignment with our experience. Feel that for just a moment as we get ready for break. And when we come back, we'll explore a little bit more about how your choices and how imagination or imaging in what is possible versus what you think is wrong or what was supposed to be can offer you whole being as you sense it, think it, speak it, and live it now. Welcome back to Clear Speak Talk Radio with me, Dr. Jeanette Wolf. I'd like to dive into this place of imagination that I left you with as we close up the show today. So imagine is such a magical word. Image in. Image in. Can you imagine what you would create as you speak your truth of the whole of you? What do you consider that your nervous system, your brain, is the translator of? It translates that space between the non-physical and physical reality that you experience. In other words, it's the translator between your consciousness and the body as it operates in the physical dimension. And when it's confused or less than clear or impaired by thoughts that may have been handed to you that may have nothing to do with what you truly sense and feel, that translation does not take place clearly. So consider for a moment that your fear, your grief, that underlying static that you can't place your finger on, the anger that arises from discrediting the knowing that you're able to image in your own choice, in living from what you sense as your ideal experience. So just feel that for a moment. And feel that discomfort, the disease, the lack of ease that arises from your discrediting of your imagination. Imagination is the key to unifying, conceptualizing, living in integrity, and bringing your ideas to manifestation. Consider the last time that you were regularly living from imagination around what is possible, and not all the reasons why not. Will give yourself the inherent quality of freedom, whole being, and redefinition and reconstruction of your experience. What if you place your attention on the knowledge that your blood cells replace themselves every 120 days? What if you simply trust that your body consistently updates and that your cells focus on fulfilling your beliefs and commands? Will you also consider that your cells continue to hear your commands and replicate the same old you until or if you consciously choose to update your thinking software, your speaking software, your hearing software, and to shift your programs and all the beliefs around what you thought is possible? Your molecules, your atoms, your subatomic particles have their own innate intelligence and communicate with each other as they respond to your input. We choose our own codes. You are the chief belief maker. You are your own pharmacist. You are the one who informs your form around your life force and what arises from your inherited life energy, your ancestral imprints, the way your body assimilates its nourishment, the way it responds or reacts to its environment. And so what if you could inform your face, your body, your physiology, every aspect of your form on how to construct, reconstruct, restructure itself? What have you placed your attention on informing that form with? Have you been attending to yourself consistently, moment to moment, and without distraction? Have you been avoiding the conversations that your symptoms so wisely offer you? Are they beginning to shout instead of whisper? What if you could subscribe to a vibrational restructuring format to support you in that? What within you, and ask yourself this again and again, what within you are you able to, willing to, let go of, and recycle and reboot and update so that your brain biocomputer, your operational system can exist in integrity, in whole energetic flow? The primary way of shifting your experience is to believe that you can claim it by deciding, by choosing to go for it. And then, of course, yes, to engage in practices that raise your frequency frequently, to eat wisely from your sensory knowing. And when I say sensory knowing, that means you eat something and you go, I have energy, or I'm tired. Oh, my digestion feels good, or oh, perhaps it doesn't. It's really that simple. How many times do you override what your body is informing your form of? So, can you appreciate a moment of discomfort in the resistance? Can you appreciate the brilliance of a symptom informing your form, informing you of your highest good and most whole experience? It can be simply to take a pause, to have a sip of water, to take a deep breath, to rest, to be present with yourself. Can you thank the discomfort, and will you choose in that moment to edit in whatever format is available? Are you willing to engage in your quiet space? Are you willing to engage in quieting your thoughts around what's supposed to be? And that doesn't mean running away from your daily activities, from what you think what you think are your outer responsibilities. It's simply being responsible to yourself in the moment, within everything that is. Are you willing to actually forgive? To forgive everything that has somehow separated you, everything around you, or that has led you to separation? And will you consider compassion for yourself and for others, and allow things to simply pass on? And so you are encouraged to operate outside of your feeling center. Consider that phrase, I feel it in my gut. People say that all the time. You have the same capacity within the lining of your stomach as you do in your brain. I think there are even books written on that, something like My Stomach, My Second Brain. Reconsider yourself. Realize that you can instantly image in and alter your experience when you operate from real eyes. You're not the supposed to be. The opportunities are always there. Realization. The solar plexus is where we hold our power in the body and where we extend our power into the world. It's where we perceive the world, right? That's the feeling center. That's where we receive threads of data all the time. It's where we receive and digest. And that can be nourishment or information or love. How good are you at receiving? What are your receptors like? What's your gut like? Yeah, that's a pretty interesting territory. Are you able to receive data and truly hear it and not be in a place of defending and protecting some stance? Are you willing to receive information without making it mean something with the mind? Without some logical application? Are you willing to reroute your decision-making process and actually listen to your body? Go back to your sensory intelligence? Are you willing to notice how you feel? Yeah, it's pretty scary sometimes, especially when we haven't been listening for a long time, or we believe that that's weak or not successful. I love how I see on media all the time this place of strong women do this. What is that really saying? It's actually resisting our own vulnerabilities and softness. Why do we have to have contrast? Contrast is not wholeness. Can we actually accept the wholeness and receive ourselves even when we're not feeling like strong women or men or whatever? Yeah. So, when we're feeling less than strong, are you willing to listen to that and not beat yourself up because, gee, I'm not feeling strong? Will you truly hear your body's innate wisdom and intelligence that lovingly informs your form of what's required? And don't push it away. Actually receive love and comfort and be vulnerable. Vulnerability is pretty damn strong. Can I say that in one sentence? Yeah, I think so. The logical mind, yeah. I just got going there for a second because we live in a world that's so PC. The logical mind has been trained in a very limited frequency. So will you accept the whole of you? I guess that's the bottom line. Yeah, I know that's the bottom line. Will you accept the whole of you and not focus on what you think is strong or successful or doing the right thing? Integrity is not the right thing, by the way. Integrity is the whole number integer. So whatever decisions you've made that have brought you to this place, will you allow yourself to be okay with all that is within your experience and to begin in this now moment to author what feels ideal in this moment and then to alter and edit again and again? So let's just wrap it up with a nice deep breath. Will you place yourself in comfort and just take a nice deep breath in and inform your form and message your body to relax and to let go. And just take another nice deep breath in and allow yourself to feel what you feel and to continue to consciously breathe and just feel your heart. And maybe I've made a few questions, put out a few questions that piss you off a little bit, that might challenge your idea of what strong or successful is or what health ought to be. Just allow your mind to soften. If there's a charge with anything, notice that, because there's a nugget there. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes and feel behind your eyes and track your breathing from that space, from the space behind your eyes. And notice if there are any images or colors. Imagine your image. Imagine imagination. Whatever you'd like to imagine, and just hold that. And since we're all listening together today, or whenever you listen to this, consider holding an image of this beautiful planet in your mind's eye for just a moment. And feel the existence of your blueprint and the blueprint of the many beings on this planet. And just feel that. Feel the uniqueness of all of the programming, all the stories, all the belief systems, all of the histories, all of the lessons that have brought us to this brilliant place in time and space of knowing. There's an incredible amount of support to allow your imagination, our imagination, to bring us back into freedom, into sustainability from a place of cycles, beyond the place of linear, beyond the place of health running out or losing something. Can you just feel that beautiful space of allowing yourself home? So stretch your consciousness and feel the contributions that you've made in every aspect of your experience, comfortable or not, to yourself and those around you. And bring your consciousness on the planet into a wave of your attention to exist in this moment as you attend to yourself from a place of trusting your form, your human form, and the way you inform your human form. And so bring your consciousness deep into your body and allow your body to energize and enlighten. Put a little smile on your face. And consider the brilliance of receiving, not resisting what is, receiving the whole of what is, being able to share in mutual reciprocity at the same time, not to wait for someone to get it or to love you or for you to love yourself for that perfect moment. Just allow yourself to exist in mutual reciprocity with yourself and feel that light filling you. Image that in, connecting yourself, with your source. Your imagination is your calling card. You can learn to use your imagination, your thoughts, your chosen thoughts in constructive ways so that you can reconstruct your experience of your form. And hear and sense and feel in a way that can express your most optimal flow, your most integrous flow. Remember that you are always creating. And if you don't like the image, you can simply reimagine and image in your most pleasant, pleasing, and comfortable experience. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing time and space with me. And if you're interested in coming to know a space that expands your awareness, potentials, possibilities, and probabilities, reach out to experience our quantum body mentoring and technologies, and know that as masterful as you are in this moment, however fulfilling and expanded your creations, experience, and accomplishments are, I'm here to support your expanded view of your infinite potentials and possibilities from a space beyond what you think your story might be. That's your birthright. And every time you allow beyond what you ever imagined before, you'll be surprised and delighted by life's ever-expanding capacity to meet your vision and your choices. So please check out planetapothecary.shop and our planet filters, planet pods, and so many other multi-sensory awareness tools for your quantum health. Dr. Jeanette Wolf signing off for now. Sense it, think it, speak it, live it now. Clear Speak Talk Radio. Lots of love.
Thank you for listening to Clear Speak Talk Radio with Dr. Jeanette Wolf on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Tune in every fourth Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern as Dr. Wolf works with you to consciously construct the life you love. Learn how your health, relationships, your joy, and flow can grow in direct proportion to your expanded self-awareness and communications on Clear Speak Talk Radio. For more information on Dr. Jeanette Wolf and her amazing work, visit JeanetteWolf.com.